That truck is rolling downhill. It cannot move under its own power. But the company behind it convinced investors it was worth $30 billion. Trevor Milton didn't just build a truck, he built a $30 billion illusion. And it all started with a stretch of desert road and a slight downhill slope. This is how he did it. Trevor Milton grew up in Utah and spent his 20s building businesses with mixed results. A home security company he eventually sold, an e-commerce classified ads site that failed. Then, an alternative energy venture focused on retrofitting trucks with natural gas systems, which was eventually acquired. That last one matters, because it gave Milton just enough real experience in the trucking and alternative energy world to speak the language convincingly. But failure never slowed him down because Milton wasn't really building businesses. He was practicing something else, the art of making people believe in things that didn't exist yet.
For every doubter out there that said that there's no way this is true, how can that be possible? We've done it. It's my pleasure to actually let you guys enjoy the night, see the truck, know it's real, touch it, feel how sturdy it is. You're gonna see that this is a real truck. This is not a pusher.
What he had never done was build hydrogen technology from scratch. And that gap, between knowing the language and having the engineering, is exactly where Nikola was born. He founded Nikola in 2015, named after the inventor Nikola Tesla. Not subtle. The core idea was genuinely important. Hydrogen fuel cell trucks that could haul freight across America with zero emissions, the only thing coming out of the exhaust pipe being water. Clean, powerful, world-changing. If it worked. The idea was real. The technology was not. And Milton knew exactly how to fill that gap. Milton understood something important about how investors think. In the years after Tesla's success, anyone with a credible story about clean transportation could raise enormous amounts of money before being expected to prove anything actually worked. The window between "here is my vision" and "show me your product" was wide enough to drive a truck through. Except the truck didn't work.
There's a fully functioning vehicle, which is really incredible. You can go through, we can change out pretty much everything we want, all the temperatures. I mean, this is a fully functioning vehicle. It's not just a pusher. That's what they call in the automotive world, a vehicle that they just push and it doesn't move.
He gave TED-style talks. He posted constantly on social media with technical-sounding updates that read as authoritative to anyone who didn't know enough to question them. He cultivated relationships with major trucking companies, politicians, investors. He made Nikola feel inevitable, a company that had already won a race nobody else knew was happening. But while Milton was giving TED Talks and granting magazine interviews, his engineers were quietly dealing with a problem that should have been impossible to hide for long. Their flagship truck didn't have a functioning motor. Here is how they fixed it. In 2018, Nikola released a video called Nikola 1 in Motion. The truck moved smoothly along a desert road, silent, powerful, apparently fully operational. The caption said the truck was moving under its own power. It was not moving under its own power. Nikola had found a road in the Utah desert with a sufficient downhill slope, positioned the truck at the top, and filmed it rolling. No hydrogen powertrain, no motor, just gravity. The revolutionary hydrogen vehicle demonstration was powered by the Earth's gravitational field. When this emerged, through Hindenburg Research's 2020 investigation, Nikola's response was that the video never explicitly claimed the truck was driving under its own power, merely that it was in motion, which is technically true. It was in motion. Downhill. Because of gravity. This defense was not widely accepted. The Hindenburg report went much further than the truck video. It alleged that prototype trucks Milton claimed were fully functional were actually non-operational or built with purchased components from other companies, not Nikola's own technology. Technical claims Milton had made publicly about hydrogen production costs were alleged to be fabricated. The picture that emerged was of a founder making specific, verifiable technical claims that were simply not true. And this is what makes Nikola different from most fraud stories. Milton wasn't hiding complex financial structures in obscure jurisdictions. He was lying about whether his truck worked. That is about as simple as corporate fraud gets. And it nearly worked perfectly. In September 2020, just days before the Hindenburg report dropped, General Motors announced a $2 billion partnership with Nikola. GM would take an 11% stake. Nikola's stock surged. A century-old automotive giant had apparently validated everything Milton had been claiming. The Hindenburg report dropped 11 days later. $2 billion. 11 days. One report about a truck rolling downhill. GM unwound most of the partnership. The truck they were going to build together was never built, and Milton's resignation came less than 2 weeks after the report's publication. The SEC and Department of Justice opened investigations almost immediately. In July 2021, federal prosecutors indicted Trevor Milton on 3 counts of fraud. The indictment alleged that Milton had made dozens of false and misleading statements to investors through social media, podcasts, and television interviews, claiming Nikola had developed technology it had not developed, had orders it did not have, and had capabilities it could not demonstrate. The trial began in September 2022. The jury heard recordings of Milton making specific technical claims, hydrogen production costs, truck range figures, order volumes, that prosecutors argued were knowingly false at the time he made them. Milton's defense argued he genuinely believed in his company's future and that his statements were optimistic projections rather than deliberate lies. The jury disagreed. On October 14, 2022, Trevor Milton was convicted on all 3 counts. In December 2023, Milton was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. Less than the charges carried, but a conviction nonetheless. He immediately appealed, arguing the jury had been improperly influenced by pre-trial publicity. Then, in March 2025, President Donald Trump issued a full unconditional pardon, nullifying the conviction entirely. Trevor Milton, found guilty on all 3 counts of fraud by a jury of his peers, walked free. Not because the evidence changed, not because the verdict was overturned, because a president decided he should. Nikola itself did not survive. In February 2025, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Its manufacturing facilities were sold, its assets and intellectual property auctioned off. The truck that couldn't move under its own power launched a company that no longer exists. And the man who built it on a lie is free. Next week, is artificial intelligence the next dot-com bubble? We looked at the numbers, the parallels, and what history says about what happens next. Subscribe so you don't miss it.